fury and stuff like that, and then seeing the progression that you're doing, from each fight to the next fight, and you can see the aggressiveness in certain parts, and then you can see, okay, hold on, let me slow down and get my position again or get something like that, and then it goes back to that, and then it goes back to aggression, and I think, like I said, your hands and your stand-up is catching up to your wrestling. So I mean, yeah, dude, I think you're on the right track. I think you're gonna blow up here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think myself and everybody else that is in my camp, they're all like, all right, like you're there. It's just translating everything that's going on into the cage, and I know in my last fight I went into that fight 1-2, so I was like, shit, if I lose this fight, I'm done. Like, I can't dig myself out of that hole, or it's gonna be another 3 years before I would have to be 12-3 to get looked at by the UFC. It's like, all right, do I want to fight at the regional scene for $50 a fight, for the next 5 years, or do I want to?
And we are live, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Hey, everybody, sPidA here, TheFightCardPodcast. Once again, we are located inside the downtown San Antonio, man. Being joined by Aaron Suarez, as always. And I introduced our guest for us, boss.
Hey, man, today, man, I have the Pikey King, which I just learned what it was today, so that was awesome. Patrick Ferguson, man. He's a flyweight out of USA, here in on the south side. So, man, great to have you, man.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I don't know. It's been a pleasure, man. Like I said, we just got done doing a little episode on my little podcast, man, the Fighters Podcast, and then now we're doing the live, man, on Facebook over here. So we're just killing it today.
No, for sure. It is New Year's Eve, gentlemen. So plans, man. I know, Patrick, you said you had some plans for today?
Yeah, a lot of cocaine and hookers. So everybody on Tinder, keep your Snapchats open. I will be hitting you up later in the day.
So basically Friday, right? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a typical Friday for me.
I was going to say, not much of a change, man. But
yeah, I got to let Patrick know. I was like, hey, man, I'm not the one to text, man, please.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you need a ride, man, call Uber.
Call Uber.
Wrong number, brother.
And let me ask you, man. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the New Year, man. You start getting these texts that you don't know who they are, and everybody's wishing you Happy New Year. Do you still get them?
I leave them on red. I don't bother. If I don't got your name saved in my phone, you probably aren't worth my time, So
they won't get a response, right? We'll let them know right now.
No, just don't even bother. If I haven't talked to you in 6 months, I don't care about your New Year's resolutions. I don't care about none of that. Like, leave it to yourself. Leave it to yourself and your Twitter. I don't care.
Just move on, man. Move on.
Move on, man. We're not that close.
And man, I mean, are you gonna stay up past 9 today, or what's going on, bro?
No, dude, I'm probably gonna be out by like 7:30.
Man, the other day somebody had posted, man, that 10 o'clock is the new 12. So yeah. I'm going with that, man. By 10 o'clock, it'll be my New Year's Eve.
Who's celebrating New Year's Eve? New Year's the first. Who's doing that? Who gets that celebration? Do we know?
I have no idea. I mean, whoever wakes up early, I take it, man.
So I mean, if they're already celebrating it, somewhere else, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it with them. I think one time it was in New York, right? They do it like.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Like at 10. I was like, yeah, there it is. I'm in New York. Got you.
Says up time, kids. Go to bed.
Let's go to bed. Yeah.
I know, man. I'll probably no fireworks for me this year, man. I'll probably be popping my knees and my elbows. They can tend to pop every once in a while, anyway. But Patrick, man, we had a couple questions. I mean, Aaron questioned you about your fight coming up, man. This is going to be again in Texarkana.
Yes, sir.
For those like myself that don't know what that is, man, where is that, bro?
It's on the border of Texas and Arkansas. It's 8 hours drive here, which is Texas. It's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But it's a nice place. I like it. Good people. Very laid back and chill. The fact that they got a fight promotion out there is pretty wild to me.
And you said it's in the border, so is it still in Texas?
No, it's like I literally could throw a rock from Texas and hit the venue, so it's literally on the border.
Oh, nice, man. I'm gonna have to go, man. That's gonna probably be my highlight for 2022. So, we'll see, man. But yeah, I mean, as far as the fight earlier, man. I mean, you do train with Ray the judge.
Yeah, I'm over at USA.
Yes, sir. And I mean, of course, talent, man. You got a lot of monsters in there, bro. I mean, there's a lot of tough dudes and women, that are training with you guys. Who would you say is your toughest opponent or trainer?
I love training with Eddie. Eddie's always a tough, he's a tough go because we're the same weight class and we're still at the same part of our career where we're still trying to work work on ourselves and see who, figure out our own games. But then I was like Justin Governal, who's like the opposite. Like we have the same exact game where we're both trying to do the same thing, and it's just whose will's gonna break first.
Like a mirror, man.
Yeah, and then I go with Gordy, who's a black belt, and it's just like his game is like he's a young amateur, but his jiu-jitsu game is like so ridiculously good, and I love going with him because I'm always getting caught in something new that I haven't seen before, which is like, to most people like, oh fuck, dude, you got caught in sparring. Like, no, dude, like I'm not trying to put myself in those situations, but I thrive in those situations. Well, I want to thrive in those situations because, if you're not, if I can go in there and I can know exactly how to beat Gordy or how to beat Justin or how to beat Eddie or how to beat, this
Right.
person and that person. Does that make me grow? Is that's not expanding my game? I'm not being honest with myself. And, freaking Teddy Atlas always says, the cage or the ring is the chamber of truth, so it's like, we're going to find out, how much training have you been doing, where your weaknesses are.
Yeah, no, that's always been something that I've enjoyed about fighting is that you can't fake it, man. I mean, you're either doing it or you're not, man.
No.
Like,
No, for sure, man. And I mean, that's one of the good things, one of the things you said, man. I mean, people plateau. I mean, it's one thing. That's why a lot of people cross-train. I mean, you go somewhere where you don't know their style, you don't know what they bring to the table, and of course, you learn from it, man. So, I mean, who have you cross-trained with? I mean, that's as far as outside the gym.
We've had a lot of guys from like Submission Concepts come over. A lot of Southside guys. A lot of Pete Spratt's guys come over and spar with us. Ohana guys spar. It's kind of like the MMA scene is changing so rapidly. There's so much competition outside of San Antonio that it's no longer X gym versus Y gym. It's San Antonio versus Houston or Dallas or Austin. So, but you have so many different styles that you like. I could get great striking over at Pete Spratt's, but the grappling might not be as good as USA's or vice versa.
Right,
So you need to figure out like, all right, if I want to test my stand up, I'm gonna go against CJ Vergara, who's like a freaking dog, and his stand up is so good. So if I want to see like where I'm at legitimately and be honest with myself, I'm gonna go with a guy like him.
Right.
And versus if he wants to see where his grappling's at, or if somebody wants to, they're going to go to a different gym where it's, or like a 10th Planet Austin, that like their whole game is developed around their grappling.
No, for sure, man. I mean, Aaron, he used to be, I don't know if you mentioned him, he was a 2-time TAMA champion back in the day, man. And I got to keep throwing that out there, man, because one of the things I say, man, and I'll say this, because at that time, when he was fighting, I mean, there was a lot of strong gyms, a lot of them still around. Or as far as the guys that used to train there, but it evolved. I mean, like you said back then, I mean, not unless it's an amateur card, then I get it. They get San Antonio guys to fill it up, and men and women to fill up the card. But when it comes to pro, yeah, you hit it dead on, man. I mean, right now it's a good time, and I keep telling everybody, man, it's like it's a rebirth. I mean, San Antonio's been quiet for so long, and now that the world opened up or is opening up, and hopefully this year stays open. It's good, man, because like you said, there's a lot of fighters, a lot of good fighters in pretty much every gym here in town. I mean, right now, I can honestly say there's like 5 strong gyms. All the other ones, I mean, of course, they have jiu-jitsu only or no-gi only. I mean, of course, 10 Planet. Have you trained out there with the guys?
Yeah, me and a buddy go up to 10th Planet to do their like 10-round Tuesdays, which is the equivalent to our War Room Wednesdays, where it's just 10 rounds of live goes, and you see a lot of like legit black belt dudes, and again, you're seeing that funky weird stuff that you only see on Instagram.
Buggy chokes and all that other stuff, man.
It's just like it's a different grind that you're not going to see at your own gym or any other gym in San Antonio. So it's a little unique, but then again, if they came over here, it'd probably be the same thing. They're used to all that funky weird stuff, but when they got a dude smashing them with their shoulder,
right,
they're like, oh shit, like, and they crap their pants and they don't know what the fuck to do.
No, and I gotta ask, man, I've never been to 10th Planet. Have you ever been to the academy?
Nah, I might have driven by it. That was about it.
You see, and I gotta ask, bro. I mean, do they have like a smoking and non-smoking section out there, man, or how does that work?
Well,
I'm joking, guys. I'm joking.
If it's in San Antonio, you have to have a smoking and non-smoking section.
Oh, okay. Austin, they don't give a shit. Huh?
No, Austin's really weird.
Well, so I'm sorry to interrupt. So you have the War Room Wednesdays, man. Like, I want to talk about that. 'Cause that's like, it seems like that's like y'all's midweek party.
Yeah.
So I mean, how does that go? Like, walk me through that, man?
Well, it's
I'm like always tempted to want to go.
It's a lot of fun, It's literally just show up. You're gonna do a little bit of a warm up, and then you're gonna just get right into live goes. which is like it's that perfect midweek kind of thing where it's like, all right, you should have had 2 classes on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're either learning something new or you're developing on something you already knew, and then that war room is like the perfect opportunity to try it in a game time situation.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd rather, you know, try it 10 times and fail 10 times and figure out, okay, maybe I got to get better at it, or I'm going to just toss it out of my game completely.
Yeah.
You know, but I'd rather figure it out in the gym against a buddy where nobody's watching versus on TV where all my parents and, you know,
everybody's watching.
and now I'm embarrassed because I just tried a buggy choke and, you know,
And it was,
They're
didn't
gonna
go
let the
well.
guy hug you to death, and I've seen those, man. I mean, those guys like Gumby, bro. I mean, that's like
yeah, it's a different
Crazy.
dexterity that those guys have, you know.
yeah, dude, I'd try to go for a triangle or something like that. Right now, I'd probably fart.
yeah. I'll tap before I'll tap just thinking about it, man. Honestly, and I gotta ask, bro, because how long did you say you've been training?
I've been wrestling since I was like a little kid, you know, single digits, you know, but then I've been doing like jiu-jitsu and everything for, you know, since I got into the military, you know. I started training out in Japan under a dude, Tetsuji Kato, who's like, at one point, for one fight, he was the lineal UFC welterweight champ. He beat the dude that beat Matt Hughes. I think that's how it goes. But yeah, I was training under him and, you know, just kind of through that like international language of martial arts. Like, he didn't speak a lot of English and I didn't speak a lot of Japanese because fuck, that language is hard. But, you know, like we understood each other, you know, like when he was trying to teach me a move, I understood exactly where he wanted my hips or exactly where he wanted my shoulder, you know, and that kind of built a relationship that, you know, then I'm going surfing with his family on the weekends.
Nice.
And, you know, he's taking me to fights at the UFC or you know, the UFC fights when they were in Japan, and then, you know, crazy, dirty underground, you know, regional fights that you'd have here. And you kind of get that, you know, I got a different look at where, like, what Japan really was
Right.
through him, just by my, you know, just through that international language of, you know, martial arts. Because a lot of the guys that I went over there with, you know, they're doing all the tourist stuff, which is cool and stuff, but, you know,
They didn't get to experience.
yeah, they didn't get to experience the Yakuza freaking betting on, you know, 12-year-olds, you know,
Damn.
beating the
Yeah.
hell out of each other.
And I mean, as far as Aaron, man, have you ever been outside the country?
No, dude. We had an opportunity to go to Thailand once, and then it just no money, no nothing like that, and it was like, man, you need like $200 to get over there and get your visa. But nah, I think every chance that popped up or opportunity popped up for me to go out of the country, it always fell through.
Never made it.
Never made it, man.
And as far as I mean, it's good that you were out there, like you said, during the military. You know, as
Yeah.
far as your tour, you haven't gone back since.
No, well, you know, I got burnt out of Japan for a few years, you know, and then I'm also just trying to like figure stuff out here. I'm trying to, you know, start my MMA career, start all this, you know. So I've had time, you know, but it's also just like I've spent, you know, I did 4 years almost, you know, over there. So there's
So that's enough.
yeah, well, it's definitely not enough, but there's more to the world, you know, that I want
Right.
to see. You know, I've, you know, went to Europe and Mexico, South America. There's, you know, I love Australia a few times,
Oh,
you know,
nice,
so
man.
there's places that I haven't been that I need to go before I go back to Japan. And also, next time I go to Japan again, hopefully it's under a fight contract. That
No,
would
for
be-
sure,
that would
man.
be
I mean, especially
awesome.
at 125, man. I mean, and earlier, I mean, you guys were, Aaron was asking you a few questions, but my thoughts were like, man, international, man. I mean, that's for me at 125, that'd probably be a good bet. I mean, just because, like you said, I mean, the martial arts or the fight scene's a lot different out there. I don't know if it's changed. I mean, I've seen Ryzen and I haven't noticed. I'm gonna have to watch another video soon, but back in the Pride days, of course, I mean, like you said, everybody was polite. They would clap and then they'd stop, and it was just like watching theater, man. But through that experience, would you prefer something like that, or would you prefer people drunk yelling and throwing beer bottles at you, man?
You know, I'm a culture guy. You know, wherever I'm at, I love soaking in that like authentic culture. You know, and it's San Antonio is, you know, it's a gritty city, and you know, so we like to cut loose and get rowdy. You know, at these fights, and we love to watch people bleed. You know, and that stems from like that. The Mexican style of boxing that, you know, sit in the pocket. It's dirty, it's gritty, you know, and having a, you know, predominantly Hispanic and Mexican culture. That's what we like to see. versus Japan is kind of like that, like taekwondo, a lot of kicks, a lot of flashy stuff, you know, and it's just a different culture, and I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're both like awesome,
Right.
you know, but also I like, again, a San Antonio crowd probably wouldn't appreciate that, like, you know, technical karate style, like a Wonder Boy.
They don't.
Yeah, they want to see the freaking. Yeah, they want to see like a
Gaethje going in there and taking someone's head off.
Gaethje Chandler fight. They would love a Gaethje Chandler fight, or like a Cater Max Holloway, where it's just like one dude just beating the brakes off another. You know, so but Japan also probably wouldn't appreciate that, because it's like that. This is too chaotic for me. I need, you know, let me follow something. You know?
No, for sure, man. And I mean, earlier, like you were saying, man, you started wrestling early in your career, or as far as, you know, growing up, man. I mean, was that something that your parents put you in, or were you actually like wanting to wrestle?
Well, I started playing football, like, I think it was like as soon as I could. And then the football coach was also like a huge like NCAA national champion, all this, and he told my parents, he's like, he would be great on the mats. And this is, you know, I was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then literally he's like, you know, my dad was like, oh, do you want to play basketball or do you want to wrestle? I was like, well, you know, I'm 5 foot, you know, nothing. I'm not going to go anywhere playing basketball. And then I just started wrestling. And then after my first season, I just I love the competition of it. I love the grittiness of it, and just like how gross it is, you know?
Yeah. Man, we had Adrian Palacios the other day, man. He was going to get picked up by the Mexico basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
We got some input, man. If you still want to play, bro, we'll make some calls. And
you know, 5'6", you know, I still got the speed. I got the speed that kills, you know.
But the only thing is, we got to be on the team. So, I mean, we're not going to make
you guys just hold me down.
Yeah, I'll be the guy just standing there, man. And you guys run, and I'll just, you know, take up a number. Man, and let me ask you, bro, I actually spoke to Adam Schindler, man, who's one of your last opponents. This was a training partner, should I say. But he was talking about him growing up, and he mentioned that the first time he had to cut weight, he was like 7 or 8. And I had asked him if he knew what that was, and he was like, man, I didn't know, man. My dad just told me, don't eat. I ate cereal that morning. I didn't make weight. And was that something like that for you, man? Did you have to cut weight at that age?
Yeah, like it was. I was working out every day as like a little kid, so I was never too far. And you're wrestling literally. You know, growing up, I had a match on Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Like it was almost every like matches. So it was constant. You know, I'm at practice, and then I go to practice, go to a match later that night. You know, so it was just like this constant grind. So my weight was never too crazy. You know, but there were times where you're like, all right, go. You know, my dad would put the treadmill in the boiler room, and then he's like, yeah, you got 45 minutes, brother, figure it out. You know, and like that was just like the kind of, yeah, and that was like I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, and you're like,
damn.
Well, my dad said figure it out. Let me just fucking hop on this bullshit.
You're like, I guess I'll get on there and start running, man.
You know.
And Aaron, did you play sports growing up?
I did, man. I played baseball. I played basketball. The cool thing was I was doing the midnight basketball, the Pizza Hut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over there.
I was a kid eating the pizza, man.
Yeah.
You guys were playing. I was in the back, bro.
You were in the back, and then we have Pop Warner football, middle school, high school.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it might not look like it, dude, but this is what peak performance looks like. You know?
There you go. This is the Dad Bod 2.0, man.
This is exactly what it is, baby.
Man, and as far as you said, you're only
27 right now. I'll be 28 early next year.
Okay, and I mean, as far as are you looking? Obviously, you're doing this professionally, but are you looking to make this a career?
You know, I mean, what Dana White say? It's like an opportunity. You know, I'd love to make it a career and go and win the belt. That's obviously the ultimate goal. But I'm realistic with it. It's like, dude, you know, and MMA is changing so fast that like the dudes that are trained, like that have been training now, like growing up, they're gonna have a style that's so unique that, you know, it's just gonna be, it's not sustainable. MMA as a career is not a real prolonged sustainable career.
Right.
Like you need a brand. You know, when Anderson Silva, he built his brand. All those guys that like are still active today, they're active because they built a brand. So, you know, I'm using MMA as a launching point to build a brand, not just for my name, so I can continue to compete like in the twilight of my career, but also to, you know, so I don't have to work a 9 to 5. You know, I don't want to, you know, do that shit.
No, yeah, who does, man? I mean, actually, my boss is actually calling me right now, man. So I might not have a job after today, so I might start fighting myself. But let me ask you, I mean, what do you do right now as far as work?
Just kind of do like I go to school full time, and I'm just kind of picking up odd construction jobs here and there, trying to, get a few $100 here, a few $100 there. I'm not rich by any means. I'm fucking broke.
You're living paycheck to paycheck, man.
It's not quite. I'm like the next paycheck. Like, let me worry about the next paycheck.
Yo, I've got 2 paychecks in a month. Just go ahead and credit for now and get paid later.
Basically.
Man, and as far as your time in the military, man, what branch was it?
Navy.
And you were there 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you left, was that basically was that your plan all along, or was it close to? I mean, when it was time to decide, I mean, what was it that made you choose to leave?
It's just kind of like it was kind of. I didn't really feel like the military was gonna be that 20-year thing, and also like I loved MMA and I loved jiu-jitsu so much that it's just like, all right, I can't do both. I can't be I love being in the military for sure. I love traveling, but I can't do that and also do what I love more in competing in jiu-jitsu and wrestling and MMA. So I had to, and I just took a leap of faith, and I remember I got out of the military on a Saturday, and as soon as I got to San Antonio, I just Googled up, MMA gym, and it just happened Ohana happened to be the first one that popped up, and, I was, got out of the military on a Saturday, and I was there on a Thursday,
Damn.
Just hitting the ground running.
And with the experience that you had, I mean, when you started training again, was it different, or what was the difference? Would you say?
Well, I mean, I was still young as far as like I was immature in my MMA game, so there's a lot of holes. There's still a lot of holes, but it was just like from my wrestling background, is this the learning curve was a little bit shorter than it would be for a dude that's 22 years old. Played basketball maybe or football, trying to hop in. So the learning curve was a little bit shorter than most,
Not Aaron though. You're not talking about Aaron.
No, definitely not.
Okay,
Like,
I just wanted to bring that up. Make sure.
Pizza basketball is definitely a
There you go. Yeah, that's like
that was like semi-pro right there, dude.
that was like street ball and then Pizza Hut basketball.
If he didn't just blow out his knee, he would have been.
Damn. Exactly, man. Coach puts me in, dude. Last 4 minutes.
Man, my grandma, man, I'll tell her to rub an egg on your knee. You'll be back at it, man.
Yeah, dude.
I don't understand why they just didn't release all the Mexican abuelas with the eggs and
Like the
cure
candles,
COVID.
yeah, like the candles, do a little dance. Might rain, might not, who knows? But I'm sure it would have worked, man. Now, as far as your training, man, right now, how often do you train?
I'm training every day, even on Sundays. I'm doing like light active recovery on Sundays. Wrestling, boxing, strength and conditioning. MMA is like there's a million ways to win in the sport and a million ways to lose. So if you're not doing something every day, trying to get better, you're gonna get left behind, and you're not gonna get left behind in a few years. Like you're gonna get left behind quick. If you miss jiu-jitsu practice, you miss a guillotine choke that you're gonna get caught in for the next 4 months. And you could have saved yourself 4 months of being an idiot. If you would have just went to
that one day. And let me ask you, man, because I mean, since you started wrestling, I mean, were you like a big pro as far as professional wrestling fan growing up? Like,
no, I didn't get it. I was more into MMA than I was into pro wrestling, because I mean MMA when I was, I started following Matt Hughes around 2005, 2006. As a young kid, and just MMA just always aroused me more than professional wrestling, just because like again it was like that nitty and gritty like of like a wrestling match. Like people don't realize like how tore up you get after like a wrestling tournament or anything like that. It's pretty serious, especially at those higher levels. And it's that kind of translates over to MMA, where it's you're gonna get beat up and bloodied up pretty quick.
No, yeah, especially I mean I've seen those morning wrestling when they train early in the morning, man, and it's gritty as shit, dude. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Back when I was training with Mike Rangel, I used to look at old Carl Gotch, just catch wrestling type drills, workouts, and I used to try them, man. I mean, just to build up neck strength, arm strength, leg strength. I mean, it was just like caveman shit, but it worked. What kind of stuff do you implement into your training that's not like, I mean, you're on your own, you go somewhere. I mean, do you do like anything in specific or differently?
No, I mean, I don't like the style that I came up with wrestling. It's kind of, it keeps me I'm continuing that progression. and everything I learn that I pick up and put in my toolbox is complementary. It's going to complement my wrestling and my style. It's like I'm not going to be sitting on my back throwing up all this wild stuff. And I'm also going to do strength and conditioning that's also going to complement,
Right.
Yeah, so it's, it's kind of, I'm always doing something to, better myself and better my game.
And let me ask you this, man, and I'll let Aaron jump in. But when you're training out there, I know Randy Couture had fought to Josh Barnett, and after the fight, they interviewed him, and he said, "You know what? I went in there, and when he took me down, I started thinking like a jiu-jitsu guy. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm a wrestler. I should have reacted. I mean, is your mentality or your fight game like that when you fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I get taken down, rarely does it happen. I'm immediately looking to get back to my feet. I'm not trying to play jiu-jitsu. I'm not trying to,
do no buggy choke.
I'm not trying to sweep you. I'm literally just trying to get up, and get back to my feet so I can take you down. Or, let's slug it out on the feet, which I'm not going to fucking do.
No, so, I mean, you got to work, you're working your hands on all stuff. How is it working with Big Man Joe?
He's like working with him. He's really good. Like just work on the hand speed and everything like that. He come in. He used to coach the Tuesdays. Striking, and he's just kind of got this. He's got a not a unique, but it's a different, outlook on the training, and it's phenomenal. All the dudes that have worked with him on privates, and you see leaps and bounds in their hand speed. It's pretty good. And you look at his Instagram and you see all these professional kickboxers and shit training with him, and you see him doing all the crazy stuff, and it looks fucking cool, and it's well, not that stuff particularly, but it's all practical stuff. What he teaches.
Yeah, he's not trying to reach out for anything crazy. He's just kind of trying to keep it not simple, but just trying to keep it relevant to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about the the different triad? Did you hear about that?
No.
It was the triangle mat that they had, where they had a team boxing versus team MMA.
That sounds horrible.
That's well, Team MMA won.
Oh, shocker! Yeah,
yeah, and but that's the one they had. Platinum Mike Perry, he was on it. They had Derek Campos.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think about that, man? Did you hear about that, or?
I heard about it. I didn't get to watch it, but I mean, I think it's just another progression of this crazy sport that is mixed martial arts, and it's. I like it. I think it's crazy to compare boxing to MMA. It's like comparing cricket to baseball. There's some similarities, and the bat is a little bit similar, but it's differently shaped. So that changes everything. A friggin' 10-ounce glove changes your defense completely.
Oh yeah.
Than a 4-ounce glove, and your offense as well. So it's and I mean, if you want to set let's just settle this right now. Straight hands in MMA are way better as far as practical use than boxing, because Artem Lobov, who is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Artem Lobov, went out there and he beat Paulie Malinology, and that dude was a former world champion. It's how are you gonna have this dude that just got cut from the UFC, even with a 500 record, go out and beat your champ at the closest thing that we'll ever see to a boxer getting into MMA, which is bare knuckle. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate. I love watching boxing. I love watching Tyson Fury and Canelo and all those dudes.
I was gonna say, man, don't make an enemy.
I'm still living in San Antonio, so Canelo is the greatest. Canelo could beat my ass. Yeah. He could also beat any MMA fighter's ass. But it's just a different sport, and people that try to compare them just don't understand either one. It's I would never get into an argument about which one's better. It's one's not better. Which one's more effective? Yeah, let's have that conversation. Yeah. But which one's better? I don't know. It's which one's better, rugby or football?
Rugby.
I like watching rugby, but it's
Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, I tried it when I was in Australia.
Dude, oh man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You've just been everywhere, man. So, with being 28 years old, just you've done a whole bunch of stuff that I'm damn, dude, I wish I needed. I need to be your friend now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, we did rugby here. Was it in Almost Basin? And they had a little team, and we'd go. Me and my brother, we'd go was it Tuesdays and Thursdays we don't play, and it was pretty fun, man. I liked it, and I probably liked it more just because we had Shiner at the end of practice. So
yeah,
it was nice,
everything's better with beer. Yeah.
And so how was it in Australia? When you played over there?
Yeah, it was. It's just kind of a little bit more intense. It was like they take it really seriously, and I'm just like a kid that like I could play rugby. I played football as a kid. Yeah, it's the same shit, but it's not at all, and those guys like they're doing all kinds of wild stuff that you wouldn't even like think to do in rugby, where you think it's just like laterals and running. And, again, it's just like levels to everything,
Yeah, no, dude, I went out there and I was like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I was like, I played football, it'll be all right. I got the ball and I took off and I'm, juking or whatever. And one of they they finally get me down and one of the guys grabs me. He's like, hey, dude, look, you're looking to get your ass beat. And I was just like, what, dude? I said, I'm just here trying to play, man. You gave me the ball, I took off. And they weren't having it, so. But he was a big old Samoan too, so.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to fuck with that. I don't know how the fuck those people get so goddamn big. Living on a tiny island.
Dude, that just freaking made me laugh. Dude. That's a good one. That's true, though, man. I mean, who knows, man?
Have you met a small Samoan? Ever?
I can't say I have.
They're not under 6 feet.
Oh, yeah. I worked at Academy with two ladies, and they were twins, man, and they were huge. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's true. I've never...
Great genetics. Great genetics.
Well, see, I went to go work in Houston one time, and I had a guy come up to me. And I guess he was from one of the islands. It wasn't from like Samoa or nothing, but he came up to me, like grabbed my hand, and he's like, hey, he's all fish hook, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, fish hook, and I was like, I thought you were you're from the island, and I was like, no, man, I'm from San Antonio, but he thought I was Samoan. So I was like, okay, I was like, all right, man. Well,
no, I'm just a big Mexican dog.
I was gonna say, was that before or after you gained a few pounds?
That was after. So he was just like, yeah.
Man, and I'll say this, man, because I've especially right now, I mean, the UFC's got a couple on them. I mean, as far as a lot of the promotions, they're coming over, man, and a lot of them are heavyweights. The ones that don't fight at heavyweight, I mean, usually cut down. But so our structure, that's a good question, man. I'm gonna look into that. I mean, because that's, I mean.
Well, there was a thing where it talked about because they're always sailing, right? That they have to make the most amount of like fat and all that stuff or energy out of the smallest foods possible, because when they're traveling, they're on a canoe or they're on that raft or whatever. So, and they're going to be out on sea for days at a time. So they can only carry so much food. So that food has to give them enough energy and then also put enough meat on them. So that way, when they can make these voyages, they'll be all right. The Samoans that ended, or the Islanders that ended up dying were the ones that couldn't restore that fat or retain it. So when they came back, or whatever's left of the the Islanders, are those people that have the genetics to create fat and muscle off of small amounts of food. So yeah,
damn, that sounds like a cheat code shit.
So it's like, I mean, you look at Dwayne Johnson, right, The Rock, and I mean, he's able to put weight on and take it off, but I mean, it's,
well, when he started, he was just like a big dude. I mean, I know
now he's a big building.
Right. No, he's definitely been working out. But yeah, I mean, who knows, man? I mean, as far as the mixed, I mean, I'll believe you, man. Why not?
I don't got enough evidence to dispute it.
Nobody looked that up, man. It's true.
I watched a documentary once.
Yeah.
I fell asleep to a YouTube video, so that's what I woke up and I was like, hey, you know what, guys? I think I found it.
I know what it is.
I know what it is, man.
Yeah, for me, it's probably the same thing. I put I get 2 tacos in the morning. I eat one. I put the other one in my dashboard, and throughout the day, I'll snack on that, man. So it's like a Texas microwave up there, man. But yeah, I mean, your fight coming up, man. I mean, you said the last time you went out there, you actually you didn't drive up there. You drove up there the day before weigh-ins?
I drove up the day before weigh-ins. Just to make sure I made weight and cut the weight, because it's miserable, driving up there the day before and then trying to do it all the morning of. I'd rather just get it out of the way the day of, majority of the weight, and then wake up and only have a few pounds to cut,
And on the last time, I mean, this time you're going to go like the week before or a few days?
Oh, no, I'm going to go probably, my fight's on a Saturday. I'll probably drive up there Thursday or Wednesday.
Okay. And now, as far as the weight cut, man, because I know I had asked you if you cut weight on the last time you went out there, if you cut weight on the trip. I mean, a lot of people, they'll put a sauna on and just close the windows and...
Nah, I mean, I kind of like to give my body a rest and because it's about to go, get through fucking hell, and it's like, let me just I want to make that as miserable as I can for the shortest amount of time versus that long prolonged misery where it's like it's not that bad but it still sucks for 8 hours versus if I could just make it suck really, really, really bad
for a shorter time,
for a half hour, like that's what I'm trying to do.
Man, and let me ask you, it's the holidays, man. I mean, of course, I ate two tamales on the way over here this morning, man. But I mean, are you skipping like all these meals, all these treats, or is that just normal for you?
I usually just eat clean year round. I never balloon out too far out of striking distance to make the weight. But I still it's San Antonio. It's hard to avoid the rice and beans.
No,
and
yeah, everywhere you turn, it's like somebody taco truck here and there, man. They're everywhere.
So are we getting tacos after this?
Oh yeah, man, I'm buying.
Okay. All right, awesome.
Now, as far as training with Ray, of course, I mean the guy's a UFC vet. Who else have you trained with? I mean, what names can you throw out there, man? As people you've
I've trained with Alexander Hernandez. A lot of top regional dudes. Josh Rosen, I think he's top 10 in the featherweight. There's a whole bunch of dudes that I used to train with that are again still relevant, still top in the nation and top in the state.
And you had mentioned CJ, man. Did you get to train with him when he went out
there? Yeah, when he's here, we get some rounds in and we spar, but it's not like I'm going to Pete Spratz and all that, But again, like another tough dude that's
yeah. Oh yeah.
Really, really good.
You see, and that's the thing. Like even with Aaron, man. I mean, when I was doing when I started this media thing, of course, TexasFighting.com back then. CJ was on his way up. I mean, I was there when Ray made his pro debut. I was there, when this guy had 2 titles, walking around,
just
bullying people, man. But it's a good thing, man, because I mean, like you said, I mean, not everybody can do this. I mean, everybody wants to win the title. There's only one title in your weight division in the UFC, so it's like. I mean, is that encouraging or is that discouraging?
Oh, no. I mean, that's more encouraging because it's like there's no disputing it like in boxing where there's like you have 4 different champions, so everyone's like, but everybody gets on their Twitter fingers and it's like, oh, I'm a champion. And it's until you get a motherfucker like Canelo who's like, all right, not only am I going to beat everybody at my weight class, but I'm going to continue to go up. And now he's talking about like a fight with Usyk, which is absolutely, it's fucking wild. And Canelo, like, that's just a testament to just like the grittiness and the greatness of Canelo is like, but I came from wrestling in a state like New Jersey where there's one state champ, there's one national champ in wrestling, so it's like you're either him or you're not, but everybody's shooting for it, so you just gotta go out there and prove that you are that guy.
Yeah, but I gotta say it again, man. Canelo's not beating Jake Paul.
Honestly,
he's not.
Jake Paul's just got the size, the reach, and the just boxing prowess and IQ of
Yeah, it's all those followers, man. It's just they all that energy.
Yeah,
there's no way he's gonna lose.
Jake Paul's the real deal, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll put him up there, man. I know he's supposed to be fighting. Who next? He's calling everybody and their mother, man. He probably wants to fight
He's
Brock
calling
Lesnar.
everybody that's on the contract.
There you go. There you go.
But, was it Dana White was like, well, Anderson Silva's not under contract. Why don't you get which I'd like to see.
I would. I'm a huge Silva fan, so hell yeah.
If you're gonna pick on a 40-year-old, well, let's go pick on Anderson. Let's see what you got.
Yeah,
I kind of want to. I want him to go a few more fights and just watch the circus and everybody lose their collective minds over everybody loses their mind over Jake Paul, and I kind of I love that chaos that he brings to the game. That I'm just go a few more fights, fight another dude outside of his prime. I think Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Oh, Jr. Yeah, man.
Yeah, he just called him out, and I'm like, that's not a good fight for you, brother. You just got knocked out by fucking Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
And he's got a padded record too, but I
mean, a lot of boxers do, right? Are we gonna? No. Okay. All right.
We're still in San Antonio, buddy.
It's not. They're not padding the records. They're just building the resume.
There you go.
But man. I mean, there is something to that as far as it's one thing to be a gym warrior, but then there's another thing to put it out on the in the cage or in the the ring, where it's just I don't hate on those dudes that do go 5 fights before they get a test or anything like that. I'm jealous of it. I would love to have 5 fights of fighting bums and then get a test. Because right now, all my fighters, all the guys that I've fought all have winning records, and it's every single one has been not a war, but it's been a tough fight. There's not been one where I walk into it, I'm just I could beat this guy with COVID. There's not been one fight like that. But I mean, there is something to that. When you do get those guys, you get to open up and try something new. There's one live, going live in the gym, and then there's going live under the lights, and you don't get to do that unless you get that cage time, which I mean, boxing smart, MMA starting to kind of come, like starting to build that a little bit, but you still got dudes that are like trying to feed, the new guys to the prospects. They're all feeding the prospects to each other. It's like, build these guys up so they get a name, and then they, then you could fight at a bigger stage, so it's a bigger fight,
Yeah.
And I don't mind it, but it's like those dudes that are like, I'm, 50-0. Like, are you really 50-0? Are you more like 5-0?
Yeah. No, exactly, man. I mean, it's. I think you are probably always going to get a hard fight just because of the gym that you're at. I mean, they see USA. I mean, if I'm another gym, and I know know about your gym, I know they got Ray, I know they got Eddie, I know you guys are once affiliated with Ohana, but now you're with Brazilian Top Team, who also have the Ivies and their lineage and all that stuff. So I was like, dude, like, yeah, I'm not gonna feed you a guy that's
training with all this talent.
Yeah, like what I'm saying, you're gonna get hard fights too.
Yeah, but then it's phenomenal. I see it's these guys that should be getting these hard fights that are getting ready to go to the big stage, but they're still getting debut guys, and it's like, well, I think that's all comes down to the relationship that your gym, either your manager or your coach has with promoters. It's like if you sell tickets, that promoter is going to try to build you up, and he'll throw you the little minnows every once in a while, which is fine and dandy, But I mean, I don't really mind fighting tough fights every fight, because I know I go through freaking wars all the time in the gym, and that gives me that confidence that's like, it's either sink or swim.
Yeah, it's nothing new, man.
Yeah.
And that was I had an interview with some of the guys from Victoria, and same thing. They're just like, throw me whoever, man. You just I'm gonna sign the contract regardless. So just I'm gonna be here at the venue, this and that. Doesn't matter who it is. So I mean, I like that little small town mentality that they have, man. It's just like, put them in line, and we'll get them.
Yeah, but there's there's this fine line between being brave and being stupid. It's it's I've made that my second professional fight. My coach called me on like 6 days notice, and he's like, hey man, I got this fight 135 for Eric. Do you think you can make the weight? I was like, yeah, dude, I'm like 142 right now. It's no big deal. And and then I looked at his record. I think he was like 4-2, but he's never beaten any really tough guys, and he didn't knock anybody out. So it's like, all right, I'm not gonna get hurt, But then I go into the fight, weigh in, all that good stuff. He steps in the cage at solid 160, and I'm still at 142, and I'm trying to pace, trying to look tough, and I'm like thinking, you motherfucker, dude! Like this guy's this guy's huge, and it's like and like with my style being grappling heavy, it's hard to grapple it when a dude's like that much bigger. It just makes it that much harder, And so it's fighting an uphill battle the whole time, So there is that like, hey, not anybody, anytime, anywhere,
right.
Does the fight make sense,
Oh yeah.
When you get to the UFC, by all means, like you should have already taking your bumps, your licks, and all that other shit. Like the fact that there's dudes, there's some dudes that can get to UFC undefeated and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, you look into that undefeated record, and they fought 2 dudes with winning records. Everything else was, 1-7, and fucking debut guy that's never fought an amateur. So it's like those guys haven't taken those bumps, and so when you see those guys that are 6-0 or 7-0 going to the UFC, they're usually 2 in the UFC, and then they're out, unless it's like a Sean O'Malley who they're trying to build up for whatever whatever reason.
I think it's the hair. I don't know. Maybe.
Good on him. Like he's great on social media and all that stuff, but I mean, usually when you see those guys that are undefeated, they usually lose that out pretty quick, and that's not because it is because like they haven't taken those, they weren't honest with themselves coming up. They stuck to a game plan. They had good management and all this. They got to the show. Good on them. More than I've done so far, but I don't want to be that dude that goes to the show and just like I'm talent wise, I'm just not there. And like you got Joe Rogan, like this guy's undefeated, or this guy's whatever. But there's a huge skill gap between regional, and I was like, I don't want like that's basically Joe Rogan saying this guy may be in the UFC, but he still sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
No, for sure, man. Especially with Joe Rogan, dude. 'Cause he's got his own podcast, so
Yeah, dude,
he'll be talking about you for a while.
Hey, let's go back to that Ferguson fight. Oh, that was
Dude,
we got
do you
30
believe
seconds.
This guy was in the fucking UFC.
We got 30 seconds left. Let's put that video on.
yeah, Jamie, what was the clip?
I know, and I mean the fact that he's in Austin, that's actually pretty cool, man. I mean, Austin's growing. I mean, I know the whole flow grappling circuit blew up, and it's there.
They got the B team out there. They got they got a lot of good guys. Austin's that's gonna be another hotbed for MMA pretty soon.
No, well,
See, it used to be. I'm saying that it had a lot of good fighters coming out, man. I mean, so I don't know what drama or anything like that happened, but yeah, I mean, for a good time, dude, Austin had a lot of great fighters, man.
yeah, and you see, and I was talking about this yesterday too, man. I mean, the fact that San Antonio is hot right now, like literally, like I would love for the UFC to come down here just because there'd be a lot, like the buzz would be so big, it'd be huge. But I mean, I'm waiting for San Antonio to do that. I mean, I know it's there, and we're close. We've been close plenty of times to where I know when Aaron was competing, this was like AD or BC was
BC.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah, right before Jesus came.
There you go. That's when you stop, man. You find yourself. But what when he was competing, I mean, there was 5 good gyms, here in town, and all of them had competitors. All of them had fighters. I mean, and it was a good time, man, because I had a lot of fun covering it. It's starting to do that now again. And of course, with Chris Lopez, I mean, he's bringing his amateur circuit to San Antonio, man. So that's going to be a good step. I don't want to say stepping stone, but that's going to be a good platform to grow. I mean, because Eric, comes here maybe I talked about it maybe twice a year, hopefully more. But I would love for there to be a professional team that comes here, more often, even for other promotions, man. I mean, I would love for Legacy to come down here. I'd love for. Ando Combate Global's been here before they changed the name, of course. But, Bellator, there's so many promotions out there, man, that I'm pushing, like this year, to literally, because we have enough fighters, man. There's enough fighters here to freaking fill up a card and
every other month, man.
Everybody get paid.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I've always felt that, we've been way behind Houston and Dallas, when it comes to the MMA scene and stuff like that. So, with us and Austin starting to get some momentum and get some speed, that's going to be great for us here in South Texas, man. So, I'm always excited to see that. And then Chris Lopez having his promotions coming up. Yeah, dude, I've always enjoyed Chris with his mentality, as he was as a fighter. And then for him to be in the promoter role, matchmaking role, and then also as an agent itself. Dude, so he's going to give a lot of fighters a lot of opportunities coming up here pretty soon. So I'm really excited to see how he's doing it. No, for sure, man. And real quick, man, as far as, do you have a manager, or is how are you doing your fights, man?
I usually just, so Ray's got a really good relationship with the Peak Fighting right now. So we kind of I'm going through Ray, but I'm still, 4 fights in my career. No manager's really going to be looking to take me on until I start making a few $1,000 as far as, I'm not worth their time, which I get because I'm still in the, the regional scene, and I'm still trying to, I got to take those bumps. I would love to have a fucking manager and just sit back and train all day and not have to worry about fights. And have somebody else do all that work for me, sponsorships. And that's what I was asking, because a lot of times, you say that now, but I'm sure there's managers out there that wouldn't mind picking you up and saying hey, you know what? Because I know Ivy picked up one the other day, and we had talked about him, and then all of a sudden, he... I'm not saying it was ours, but it probably was. Yeah, but in the long run, it helps, because like you said, I'll let them worry about the paperwork, the contract. They just tell you how much and when to show up, you know, and that's good, man. But I hope, in due time, of course, get this win and, go that route, man, because it's been brought up before where a lot of times coaches, of course, the coaches are the ones that are usually helping you. They're training you, so they're helping you get fights. But, it kind of separates now. It separates, Ray's job. He's your coach, and now he concentrates on that and lets your management company, go that route. And
you should get picked up, man. I know you don't talk. You're not talking bad about yourself, but you're not talking as high as I think you should, because you have a great background in wrestling. The mentality that you have. The traveling, just on itself, as much as you've been around the world and this and that, you're 28 years old, man. There's a lot of upside for somebody to sign them. So if anybody's out there listening, man, come sign Patrick. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I know you love your dogs, and you're usually on Instagram. That's usually the videos that you have out there. But man, I think putting together a solid highlight tape, man, someone's bound to see that and be like, hey, you know what? I'll work with that. Dude. Yeah. No, for sure, man. I look forward to it, man. I hope. As far as your career, like you said,
you're using this to kind of catapult what you're doing. In the long run, say 10 years from now, man, what can we see you doing out there?
Well, fuck, 10 years, I'll be 38. That's well past prime. So I'm hoping I would love to, do one of those like freak show circus fights, have a huge brand, have a huge name, and do make $10 million off one fight. But I really would like to, I love training and coaching and everything else. I love, that's kind of not more my passion. I love competing,
right.
But like seeing those younger guys that are teenagers, me being like what Ray is to me being that to them, and just
right.
seeing like the joy on their face when they freaking hit a move that I just taught, or when they've been struggling at this position and then I teach them something, then they finally get it and they like it lights up, or even when a win, like when you watch one of your guys win and how excited they are and how excited their family is for them, like it's just like. It kind of, that's, like, I love that feeling. Right. I love helping out people,
No, and have you ever thought, since you came from wrestling, man, I mean, San Antonio, we have a AAA, Lucha Libre, we got, our wrestling's not that great. I mean, we have a couple of wrestling schools, but...
At my stature, I would love to do in that midget wrestling and just be the tallest midget wrestler in San Antonio.
Yeah, man.
He's like, hey, is that Patrick? He's like, no, it's not me. Keep moving.
Once again, managers, sign this guy up, man.
Yeah, dude.
No, but for sure, man. I mean, but I'm just saying, as far as wrestling background, because, of course, wrestling's not that big here in San Antonio. I mean, there's a couple of schools that do have it. South Texas, of course, there's none. I mean, they got, agriculture, and they got a couple classes out there. But I mean, something like that, would that be up your alley? I mean, would you be interested in somebody would offer you a job as a wrestling coach?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody offered me a job as a wrestling coach, I would love to coach wrestling, because that is my, like, original, that's my original passion, and everything else that kind of got me to the point where I'm at. So I still I love following wrestling, like NCAA. I had a lot of friends that I wrestled with in high school, wrestled D1 in Hofstra, and Dylan Malone is a dude that I trained with growing up. He wrestled at Lehigh. So I love watching wrestling as the sport, so it'll always be that love that got away, but
right.
I treat it like that,
But I mean, the fact, just like with MMA and jiu-jitsu, man, the fact that you can fall back on that, I mean, that's got to be good, because even, I keep telling fighters now, when they're training, I'm like, man, make sure you train in the gi, get ranked, get up there, because eventually, if one day you're like, you know what, I don't want to do what I'm doing, but I want to teach, I mean, what better degree than to put your, your credentials up on the wall and say, you know what, this is my experience, man, because... the years and years that you've had in training, nobody can put, you can't fake that, dude. You woke up at what time in the morning as a kid going to go train, and, middle school, high school, and then even now, training. That's a lot of hours, a lot of money, that you put into all this stuff. So, I hope you do, you find something that's going to eventually, at the end of when you decide to call it a day, you can just sit back and be like, all right, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, man. So I'm happy for you, man. I hope it happens, and even with MMA, I hope get this win, and then Aaron signs you up and he gets his promotion going.
Dude, I'm gonna have to create a management team now, dude.
You go.
I'm gonna have to do that, man. Be like, yeah, dude, Aaron, what can you do for me? It's like, nothing really. I'll feed you. You want some coffee?
Yeah, I'll drop you off at work.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the issue with getting a manager. It's like, what are they gonna do for me that it's like, all right, I got a few more sponsorships and all this other stuff. Yeah. Some of them really good. Other promoters or other managers, they're just like, all right, this guy's got potential. He's got, let me sign him to a contract, and then I'm with him for 3 years. And it's like, shit. Now, fuck. What do I? Now I can't get my own sponsors. And if I do get my own sponsors, I got to give him 20% or whatever. But I'm just, all I focus on is just getting better, because I'm not nearly where I need to be as far as skill set wise. I don't care about the money and all that. I'll worry about that when I'm, when I got that check mark, and when I got, when I got that branding, I'll worry about that then, and I'll build up to it, by doing podcasts and all that other stuff. Yeah. Showing I have a pretty good personality. I'm not fucking dry rug I'm not a knuckle dragger like a lot of these guys are.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, man. I'll give you that, because when it comes to fighting, there's a lot of fighters that don't like to talk or don't like to be in front of the camera. And I get it. They just want to train and fight, but it's just if you want to brand yourself and eventually get sponsors, you kind of have to, man, because, it's like nobody's going to pay you $500, $1,000, $5,000 just to wear their shirt and not be caught training with it or not be caught, watering their lawn, something, man. I mean, you definitely got to support, But yeah, man. I mean, as far as your sponsors, I know you mentioned them earlier. Who are they, man?
I got DD214 Fightwear. They're great quality. Like I've been wearing them for a year, and it's usually the only stuff that I fucking wear because it's the only stuff that I have because I'm dead broke. but I've been wearing it for a year, and it's just like the seams haven't ripped. It's super affordable. Nice. The gis are fucking phenomenal, and like it's veteran owned and operated, and they love veterans. They love giving back to the veteran community. And I love working with other veterans, hero sports, and just kind of, not giving back, but just kind of sharing that kind of camaraderie that, veterans have and helping each other out. And then that leads to helping out first responders and then helping out the people that they help out. And, it's just kind of a snowball effect, and
for sure,
it all starts there.
No, I mean, is that the only people you have right now?
Right now, yeah.
We gotta get you some more, man. We gotta have to find something out, and then maybe we can pay $20, $30, make you a little highlight tape.
Oh shit, yeah, and on that TikTok and all that other shit.
There you go, man. I'll load it up right now.
And then going back to the sponsor, right, and them working with military people and veterans and stuff like that. I also had a show with Roger Narvaez, and he talked about how that helps out people, especially with military backgrounds or people that have been emotionally abused, physically abused and stuff like that, and like how jiu-jitsu and boxing and training just in general helps their mentality-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, has that helped you out? I mean, did you go through anything in the military that needed to be?
I mean, when you're in the military, you kind of deal with, it's like it's 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and then countless how many people are doing it there, So I've seen my fair share of just I haven't been in war by any means. I was fucking in Japan. I was fucking getting my dick sucked by hookers and doing blow. It's but wow. But you do see your friends struggle with their shit that they're dealing with from the shit that they've seen, and then you got your own shit that you've seen. But I mean, as far as jiu-jitsu kind of led me into one of my best friends, Justin Governal, scout sniper in Iraq, and that dude's the amazing human being, amazing dude. But I wouldn't have met him if it weren't for jiu-jitsu, and then we kind of oh, you're a veteran, I'm a veteran too, this, that, and the other. So it's just kind of and jiu-jitsu in itself, you kind of, when you see a dude walking in a bar with fucked up beers, you just kind of give that nod, and you're just all right, you have that camaraderie of one, I know he's probably not going to be a huge dickhead, but two, it's also you have that, basic understanding about, oh, you've been in shitty positions, I've been in shitty positions, it's and that's what you do in jiu-jitsu every time. You're actively looking for those shitty positions that might mirror actual life, like women that have been sexually abused or abused in a relationship. You learn to be in those situations and live in those situations and then get out of those situations. So I think it's incredibly helpful for people that have are not not necessarily broken, but they're they've been in really jacked up situations, and it helps build their confidence that you can't get from, lifting weights, or going to a basketball court. It's jiu-jitsu, you have to live in those situations. You get in those situations and you live there. And you're the only one that's going to get you out, which is incredibly helpful for people, dealing with all kinds of mental illness and all that shit.
Yeah, and we've seen an uptick in the anxiety and stuff like that because of COVID and everything that, with us being shut down, and now we don't know, do we wear a mask, do we not wear a mask, or what's going on and what's going to happen this upcoming year.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I mean...
No, you still don't wear a condom. Don't wear a condom.
Oh, no.
Wear a mask, don't wear a condom.
There you go.
Yeah, that's on
you shake hands, make sure you put a glove on and before you shake hands. So. But we'll see, man. I mean, 2022, man. I mean, a couple hours from now, it'll be a new year. Shit. I mean, I'll be asleep by 10, like I said, so I'll see everybody next year.
Yeah, right.
But as far as our resolution, man, you said none, right? I mean, you're just going to keep...
It's the same grind. I don't pay attention to holidays and all that other shit. It's, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wake up and I'm, oh, what's today? Boxing. All right, what's today? Strength and conditioning. It's all the same shit. And all those days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. And I don't get hung up on the holidays and all that shit. Do I need an excuse to get blackout drunk, or can I just do that whenever the fuck I want?
It's 1:30 in the morning. Come on,
yeah,
I should be able to wake up and start drinking, right? And I'm with you on that, man. I mean, I've got 2 kids, so of course, them growing up, I had to do celebrations and celebrate the birthdays and whatnot, man. But I mean, now they don't, and they probably get that from me, man, because I'm not big on holidays. I don't for me, I want to celebrate. I find a pair of socks that match, man. That's a celebration for
right?
me. I want to drink a beer just because of that. But it's I accept every day. I mean, every day is a new challenge. Every day I see new people. I meet new people. Like yourself, man. I mean, thank you for coming by. And it's got to get better, man. I mean, for the new year, what I'm expecting is the same struggles, same hustles. I'll probably be hitting the same wall I've hit this year, but I'll go the other way instead of going right. I'll go left, But yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully, this whole COVID thing goes under and disappears, and everybody starts. I don't want to say paranoid because something is out there. COVID.
COVID is real, but it's like everybody's arguing over the severity of it. Which, I mean, some people fucking die. That's the reality of it. Some people die and some people, get COVID and don't do it. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or mask and don't mask. If you want to do it, by all means do it. I'm not going to be offended if somebody wears a mask in front of my face or tells me to mask up. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever, dude.
No, for sure, man. And I feel the same way. I mean, Aaron, what do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I'm on the same boat, man. It's like, hey, I'm just asking you, if you're gonna shake my hand, just wash your hand.
Yeah.
Just make
elbow
sure,
bump.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I mean, it's a weird thing. I mean, how do I go about telling somebody, hey man, put a mask on? And I'm like, you can't do that. So, nah, man, you wear it for your own protection. Do your thing. We'll be all right.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm more worried about people, putting their seatbelt on when they drive, man, or at least use their blinker. That's what I'm worried about,
yeah,
man.
Shit, that blinker is fucking huge.
Yeah. Let me know which way you're going. That way I can avoid you.
Don't talk about our driving, man.
Man, I drive for a living. I do. I deliver furniture, and I'm all over the city. I'm freaking everywhere. But I mean, that's a pet peeve for me, man. It's just, and I'm not. People are, they are who they are. But I mean, it's just for me, it does aggravate me to the point to where I'm like, fuck, I mean. At least let me know which way you're going, man. I mean, I see a car banged up, I immediately go the other way because I'm like, yeah, this guy don't know how to drive. But
I can't let nobody know my next move.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Surprise him.
Yeah, no kidding, man. And it's just, San Antonio, man. It's getting bigger. It's growing. I mean, whether we like it or not, it is happening. I mean, it has been happening for a few years. I mean, of course, we wouldn't have people like yourself, coming here to the city. But I mean, when it comes to the growth in San Antonio, man. I mean, what side of town do you live on? I
live on the southeast side, by like 410 and I-10.
Oh, okay. And I mean, of course, I mean, are you familiar with the city now? I mean, as far as like going 151 all the way to 1604 type thing?
Yeah.
Okay. No, the only reason I ask is because even I do deliver furniture, man, and I if it wasn't for me doing what I'm doing now, I wouldn't know how big the city's gotten or is getting, because I'm driving 90. It used to stop at Converse, and now it keeps going. And I'm like, crap, there's houses out there. There's new subdivisions popping up. 90, 151, of course, all the way out past 1604. I mean, I was in Hondo the other day, and on the Google map, it was like, 18 minutes. And I'm like, it takes me that longer to get to, one of the stores here in town. So I drive out there, and it just seems so much longer because now there's houses, there's apartments, and I'm thinking, damn, like where the hell, when does San Antonio end and when does it start? As far as the small towns, man, because it's getting huge, man.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving out there. I remember, I used to drive out to Uvalde, and for my last job, and there was like nothing out there. And then all of a sudden you go back that same route, and houses and everything's popping up, and I was like, dude. So it's amazing how quickly we're growing.
You see, what got me was I got to Hondo and they had a Dollar Tree. That blew my mind, bro. I was like, oh shit, that's when you've made it, bro. I mean, it's not even Walmart now; it's like Dollar Tree. So I give them props for that, because that was.
Now remember, everything's like $1.25 now.
Yeah.
It's inflation, dog.
Inflation, baby.
No kidding, man. And I mean, I got change in my pocket, dude. I'm cool with that. But yeah, when it comes to gas and everything else, man, it hurts a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Now let me ask you, bro. I mean, we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit, man. I do appreciate you, Aaron. Of course, always, man. I'm gonna change the lock after today, but that's another thing. But yeah, man. I mean, as far as the new year, man. I mean, of course, there's no. You're not putting anything up there, but I mean, you are gonna fight next month. In 2 months, I'm sorry.
February 5th.
Right.
Yes.
So when it comes to you. Did say you wanted to stay busy.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to as far as fighting, I mean, of course, it's gonna have to be MMA related, right? You're not looking at doing boxing or kickboxing or.
Well, shit, you throw a lot of money in my face for a boxing fight, and like I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna go against some like little freaking 16-year-old Canelo kid that's gonna knock me out in fucking 30 seconds and embarrass the shit out of me. I don't need a paycheck that bad, but if it's like, all right, we just need a filler, here's a freaking one-on-one guy. He's not great, but he's not gonna fucking take your head off. And here's like a $2K paycheck. Yeah,
Right.
I'll do that.
And that's the reason I was asking, because a lot of times, even and I've seen it before with mixed martial artists, man. They'll do stuff like that just to get money. I mean, they're not looking at going pro or pursuing a boxing career, but a lot of them doing to get paid. I mean, whether they win or lose, of course, it sucks. But yeah, man. I mean, of course, if anybody shows cash up front, then why not?
Yeah. And I mean, I'll do anything submission related. Like the grappling. I love grappling, and there's like, it's low risk, high reward type stuff. But I'm not trying to get knocked out for a year and sit on the sidelines for an MMA career. So it's like, it all depends.
And of course, the grappling will have to be no gi.
I'll do gi, but I'm not gonna like it.
No butt scooting.
Just a mean face the whole time.
It's the gi doesn't bother me as much as like the butt scooting does. It drives me to the friggin' walls. I was at a submission. It was a submission only event, and I was watching it, and like the bell rings, and the dude just sits down like this, and I'm like,
you're like,
God,
shit.
yeah. Who's the creator of jiu-jitsu? They would be rolling over in their grave right now. It's like, that's not what this sport is about, man.
Well, and it has changed. I mean, of course, the game even now. I mean, not to say their submission skills aren't great, because they do have them. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just, if it's not gonna go from stand up, that kind of kills everything right there and then, man. I'm not a fan of that, of course. I mean, that's just not for me. I wouldn't want to sit there for 30 minutes to watch that and then be like, okay, who's next? I'd be like, it'd be like a Netflix movie. I would just freaking change the channel and go somewhere else, man.
Yeah, right.
Hit him. Yeah, it's that.
But yeah, man. But anything you want to add, bro? Before we wrap this up.
No, I mean, I just want to give a shout out to San Antonio. A lot of the fighters up and coming, it's one thing I did want to say was like, man, like the cross training it's so important as far as finding different looks to your game. It's a little bit more prevalent with the pros, or less prevalent with the pros, because we understand, like, hey, I'm not going to fight CJ, or I'm not going to fight Eddie, or any of the pros in San Antonio, because that doesn't really make any business sense.
Right.
But those amateurs, like a promoter's going to come in and say, this amateur from this gym and this amateur from this gym are going to go fight. But amateurs don't really need that so much. They should be getting different looks to the gym.
Oh, yeah, man.
But as far as pros go, man, like, we should all be cross-training together, because I know there's a lot of pros that, I have I'm the kid, like me being wrestling heavy and having like a really good wrestling background, it's like, it would be bad news for, I'm a bad matchup for them, and
right.
they're eventually, you get higher up, you're going to get the dude.
Like man. Look at the welterweight division, man. Ooh, a lot of wrestlers on there.
Exactly, welterweight, and then you got all these freaking Dagestani motherfuckers coming from, the mountains and shit, and it's like, dude, if you're not learning to wrestle right now, like, you're going to be smothered, and it's like, you don't want to learn how to wrestle in the cage,
and
in the bright lights.
UFC, because that wouldn't be good.
So
like Kevin's doing.
Yeah, that's miserable, and it's like, like he's got that personality and all that other stuff, but learning how to wrestle at that high level when you're already in the Shark Tank, like you're trying to learn how to fucking swim now, like, you're good luck.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, everybody should know the basics of it, so it's like, all right, your giant hole is wrestling. If I take you down, you are doing absolutely nothing. God, you could knock my fucking head off with a punch, easily. But why the fuck would I do that? It's like, if I see a giant, if I'm taking the path of least resistance, I'm going to be the laziest fighter in this fucking world. It's like, if I could get you out of there in a minute and a half by taking you down and taking your neck, I'm going to fucking do that. I'm not going to, I don't give a fuck about this show, or like, oh, let's be entertaining for the fucking fans. Like, fuck those drunk retards. Like, they, it's like, they're not going to remember the next fight, So it's, what does it matter? Just be the best fighter you can be,
No, for sure, man. Well, I want to thank you, gentlemen. Of course, this is New Year's Eve, so I'm looking forward to next year. Like, tomorrow? We're going to celebrate it as being Saturday. Just another Saturday, man. But yeah, man. But I mean, we are the Fight Card Podcast. Of course, Aaron Suarez. Look him up on his app. As far as his plug, everybody out there, it is on the website. Scroll down some. Of course, you can follow up. He's got a couple of interviews on there as far as with the gentleman we have here today. And Patrick, man, thank you for coming by. I mean, it is New Year's Eve, everybody. Till next time, man, make sure and follow up. This is The Fight Card Podcast. See you next year.
Dude, that was an hour. It was an hour and 8 minutes.
Is that, how long do they normally go?
roughly about